Hi guys, welcome to the Pearls of Color podcast. This is episode 10 and I'm Sarah. You can find me on Ravelry as Sarloz. It's Sarloz. The episodes are posted on YouTube as well as on my blog with its show notes. So feel free to check out the blog as well. I want to, where to begin? Let's see. Today is March. It's the beginning of March and I'm super excited for it. I'm done with the snow and I can't wait till it melts. It's probably not going to melt until mid or late April. We still have a lot out there. But so far we've got some nice weather compared to what we were having, and the sun has been out, and it is really nice to have February done with. It was tough at work. None of the kids wanted to focus and learn, and it was loud, overwhelming, and those 3-day weeks that we had were some of the longest weeks around. So I'm glad February's over. I'm glad it's March. I hope you guys are enjoying the beginning of your March as well. I hope your weather is starting to improve if you are, stuck in those colder regions. I am definitely enjoying that the sun has been out. So I need it. It gives me more energy and I need some sun. So there's that. I want to talk about the group a little bit on Ravelry before I go into talking about my FOs and my whips and my spinning. I got spinning again this week. So before I go into that, I just want to talk about the group for a little bit. I know it's not super active, and I keep saying I'm going to try to get it more active. But sometimes it's hard for me to update as well on there. So I get it. Life is busy. But if you're new to the podcast and you stop by the group, feel free to join. Feel free to introduce yourself and take part in any chat or anything. If there's any board on there that you want to say something in, please do. You can wake the board up, whether it's been silent or not for a while. Feel free to do that. Feel free to, feel free to make your own boards too if you have questions or you want to see something on the podcast, or it doesn't matter. Just feel free to get involved as well. The February knit along went pretty well, I guess. I had 2 people enter, which I know isn't a lot, but considering that the podcast is still new, I'm so appreciative of everybody who took part in it, and as well as in my giveaway I was doing for the Winter Breeze cowl. So thank you for those of you who participated in both the giveaway and the knit along. Both the winners have been contacted. They have been sent the patterns that they won already, and they have been announced on each of those forum threads. So feel free to go over there and check that out. The stash down thread is still going on. I hope you guys who are joining me are feeling as productive as I am. I may not be touching my yarn stash as much as I would hope. A lot of the yarns I'm using up is the yarns I've bought recently, so it's not considered, I wouldn't consider it deep stash, but I'm still doing pretty well. I haven't bought much yarn this month, or for the month of February. I only bought one skein, and that was from Stacy of Mustache Yarns for her excuse me, for her School of Stash. So I'm doing pretty well, and hoping to stick to that. I have been doing great with my fiber stash recently. I'm super excited to be using that up. I really have been inspired to spin, and it's really taken hold over these past couple weekends. So I've got quite a bit to show you. For those of you who are just joining the group, feel free to participate in the stash down. There's no rules. You set your own goals, you set your own rules, because I know a stash down means different things for different people. You may have different reasons for doing it. You may have different limits. So feel free to go to the chatter thread, post your guidelines, and we can help support you through it. And with the FO thread, when you finish stuff from your stash, please post it, and you'll get a chance to win prizes randomly throughout the year. I haven't done a drawing yet for that, but I will probably soon. So post those FOs, and when I plan on doing a few drawings so that throughout the year, and those will probably be for patterns of your choice on Ravelry as a download, or if I have something that I want some to give away, I will. So there's that. Keep us updated on your stash down too. Let us know what you're struggling with, how well you're doing, whether or not you're keeping to it, because I don't want people to feel like just because they're not sticking with their stash down doesn't mean they can't participate in the chatter thread. It's tough, and it's a tough thing sometimes to stick to a stash down and your goals, because you see all these different yarns out there that you want to buy, and that's fine. If it's okay. There's no penalties or anything like that, and don't feel like you can't participate. Please do chat it out, or post the things that you have been knitting from your stash. It doesn't have to be deep stash. It could be something you stashed last month or whatnot. It doesn't have to be stashed prior to 2015. Just post those pictures and those FOs. Feel free to join. And then the last thing I want to talk to you about the group is that some of you noticed I put a new thread up there as a sticky. It's called Project Shar, a dedication to a knitting mentor and friend. Last week I found out that a good friend of mine, Shar, had passed away. We met through Flickr, and it was before Ravelry time, and then we moved over to Ravelry. I had met her when I just started knitting, and she was an inspiration to me, and she taught me new things through email and introduced me to new different techniques and stuff like that. Over the past few years, we we didn't email as much anymore, and it mainly due to busy lives and health issues. But I never stopped thinking about her, and she was just one of those people who was always kind, always giving, never judgmental, and we quickly bonded over our cats, and we bonded over knitting, and we talked about each other's lives, and she was always there as a listening ear, and I appreciated that, and I appreciate it so much, and I'm really sad that she's gone. And one of the things she was known for was knitting what she called peeps, and they're about hand-sized little knit toys or animals that are completely seamless. She hated seaming things, so she tried to keep them as seamless as possible. She did write the patterns up, even though she hated writing patterns. She never used patterns, so to write them up was a challenge for her, but she did it because she knew people enjoyed her end products, so she did write them up and post them on Ravelry, and they're there. So please check out her pattern page and her project page. Some of her projects are just so amazing. She got details, and she did such a good job. She would have an idea, and she would just go with it, and she had such a visual mind. Like she could see that the item she wanted to knit on paper, and she could just replicate it, and she loved knitting for other people. She was always knitting for other people to give them her little peeps, and everyone found so much joy from them that she gave them to, and that's what this project is for, and that's what that thread is for. If you knit any of her patterns, please post them so we can see them. They make great gifts. Knit some, give them away to little kiddos in your life, or whatnot. They're a good size for little hands and for babies, and she's put rattles in a few of them, and she's done some that have like the voice recorder. You can record yourself talking or a song on and put them in the bellies. So they just make great little toys and stuff like that. So they used to bring so much happiness to her and her husband, and I just kind of want to keep her memory going with this project. Just knitting her peeps and passing them on to people, and spreading that happiness and that joy that she got out of it. So that's what Project Shar is, and I hope those of you who watch would like to participate, feel free, post those FOs. It's not going to be it's not going to be a prize thread, guys. I don't feel like carrying on someone's memory should come with prizes. So it's just a feel-good thread. So please feel free to take part in it. I'll be knitting some of her little guys up once I finish some of the projects I have on the needles. I think they'd make some good fiddle toys. I work in a first grade class, and there are a lot of kids that need some like a fiddle toy or a distractor, and I think it'd be nice to have one of her little peeps in their hands or something to keep them focused. So I do want to knit a few up, and I hope you guys participate as well. She had one of the biggest hearts I knew, and I just want to keep her memory alive, and this is my way of doing it. So feel free to take part. So that's it for the group. There's not those were the 3 topics I wanted to touch on. So stop by and check us out if you haven't already. Thank you for those of you who have already joined. And feel free to, like I said, open your own post and all that fun stuff. If you do watch me on YouTube, also please subscribe so that more people can find the podcast. So I think I'm going to go right into my FOs, and they're nothing major, but I do have quite a bit. So last time I talked to you guys, I was working on some washcloths and using up some cotton stash, and I continued that. So I was working on a green dishcloth, and I finished it and had enough to make a small face cloth afterwards, which I did, and I'll show those to you. Guys, I'm looking down because I'm actually knitting today. I am very tired, and I feel like I need to keep my hands busy today, so I am knitting while I talk to you guys. So here was the one I cast on. It was knitting during the last podcast. I really like the greens on this, and I really love this deep green here, and I like how the design that it made when you knit it. I like how the dark kind of fades into this other color, so it almost looks like water smudges. Like it just looks like it blends in with it. Like it does. I love it. I think it looks great. So this one is just stockinette middle, seed stitch border. This one is stockinette middle, garter stitch border. I think this was Lily's Sugar and Cream yarn. I didn't get as much out of this skein as I did my Peaches and Cream that I used for this yellow that I showed you last week. And it definitely took on a different pattern when I knit it. But I know doesn't really distinguish the yarns. I'm just saying, I think this one is the Lilies and Cream. And I know when I bought the Peaches and Cream for this yellow, I'm pretty sure I bought a second skein of it, and I think it was this color. This is like a earthy camouflage type color. It actually reminds me of gardens. You got your dirt and your leaves, you got your soil and your leaves and stuff. So it reminds me of like a garden or something. So I got a little face cloth and then a larger washcloth. And like I said, I think this one, I don't think I mentioned this for this one actually, but I think this one is Peaches and Creams because I did get more out of it than with the green. Because I've used it prior. I've used it to make a few coasters. So I have this star coaster. This coaster is the Country Star coaster. I've made several of them over the years. This one I made maybe a year or so ago. And then I made a larger square one for my boyfriend at his desk that he uses. So definitely got more out of that. I also have a 5th washcloth, which is being used right now. Well, I got the 5th one I made in the last couple of weeks. It's kind of like a scrap washcloth. It's a bit smaller. It's actually, it's probably around the size of this one. and it's got like a really dark brown and green on the middle. It has a small row of like the garden colored one, and then the top of it is yellow. So I used up the scraps that I had around. For the dark green one that I used on that washcloth, I have no idea where that full skein is, and I know there's got to be a skein that goes with it because I haven't used it for anything. So I don't know why I had a random ball laying around here of just that dark green and not the rest of it. So I finished the washcloths. I also finished my kid mittens by Kelly Spenhoff. Yeah, Spenhoff. I really like how they came out. I have a second pair that is in my classroom at the school I work at for the kids. One of the kids took them out to recess the other day, and when he came in, asked if he could keep them because they were so comfortable, which is a great compliment. I love when I hear stuff like that. So this is Moda Day Sassy Stripes, and they're polo colorway. The other pair of mittens I made are the same mittens, just a little shorter here and a little shorter here. And this one I had to use some Purls Classic wool and peacock for the thumb and the tips. I used all of the sassy stripe up, and that was my plan. So I had knit these 2 at a time so that I could use up as much as possible and still have the mittens look as matchy as possible. So I'm actually really pleased with how these came out, and I'll bring them to work on Monday for the class as well. I don't know how much wear they'll get in them now that you know, it's March and hopefully spring is coming, but we'll see. I don't mind doing kid mittens 2 at a time. I hate doing socks 2 at a time though. So I did lose a little steam when I got close to the top. I was ready for the decreases for the top, and I had stopped for a bit. And that's usually what happens when I do 2 at a time. I usually run out of steam after a little bit, and they get put on hold for a bit. That's why I don't do socks 2 at a time. I just think I don't feel as motivated by the progress I'm making when I knit 2 at a time. So I always lose steam and put them aside, and I just take forever to finish them. And I decided it's just not for me. I don't ever experience second sock syndrome, so I don't have that problem. So knitting 2 at a time really isn't worth it for me for socks. So I don't do it for socks, but it worked out well for these mittens. And those are my FOs. For whips, I've got a few pairs of socks going. Well, I had 3 pairs of socks going. I just frogged one yesterday though. So I've mentioned that I am doing the mustache, Stacy's Mustache University, and it's for the month of March. There are 3 different classes you could have enrolled in. One was for the OMG heel, one was for the double gusset heel, and one was for the afterthought heel. And I got mixed feelings. So I originally signed up for the double gusset and the afterthought heel, and the plan was that I would do both, and that was a possibility. You could do both, but you need mustache yarn to knit both if you want both to qualify for the prizes. So I had asked that for the double gusset class, I become an auditor, which is just somebody like a student who's not participating in the knit night, the virtual knit nights, or in the prizes with that with them, so that you don't have to use mustache yarn for your sock. And the plan was to knit my boyfriend's socks with the double gusset heel, and it's going great. He loves his socks. He loves the double gusset heel. It fits his foot perfectly, and he is so picky when it comes to socks that that's probably one of the best compliments he could give. Is when he tried these on last night, he instantly gasped and he was like, "Oh, these are nice. And he said, and he told me that they fit his foot like a glove. And he does not have one bad thing to say about them so far, which is amazing. He appreciates my knits that I make him, and he wears them, even though there are things wrong with them. And he's a good sport about it. But he's not afraid to give me feedback or criticism on the items that I make him. It's fine, because when I make him other items, I can change those things, but at the time, sometimes it can be a little discouraging. So when I knit him things, I end up ripping back a lot and frogging and stuff as I go. So the fact that there's nothing he has to complain about or say about these socks so far is amazing. And I taken major notes on it so that I can replicate it in the future. I was knitting them. This is what I'm knitting during the show, so I'm kind of in the middle of a row right now. But hold on one second. I'll finish the row and I'll show them to you. I'm using Knit Picks Felicia yarn. I love this as a sock yarn, and I'm so upset that it's discontinued. I have, since it's been discontinued though, I have been able to get quite the collection going. Through D-Stashes, I've bought some, and then I've bought some, they had a special release in November of some colorways, and I stocked up majorly during that release. So, I mean, I have several skeins of the same colorways, but I don't care, because I like this yarn so much. I don't care if all my socks had to be the same color, or whether or not it was a color I liked or disliked. So, I really like this yarn. I'm using size 1 needles. I'm using my Chai Gu red cable. This is not the red lace one though. These are the original, they're regular ones that have the bend in the needle. I don't like the bends, and I mentioned that in my needle review episode. But I did straighten them out a bit, and I really enjoy working with them right now on these socks. I like that the tip is not so pointy for socks, because I can knit a long period of time without the tips bothering me with these. So here they are. Well, here it is so far. He doesn't like long socks, neither do I. I made a really small cuff on his last pair of socks, a 2x2 ribbon, which when washed stretched, like, wasn't as sturdy as I wanted it to be, so it doesn't fit his ankle as nicely as it should. So this time I did a longer cuff, hoping that it would hug his ankle more, and it does. And I did a 1x1 rib instead of a 2x2, and he loves it. He likes the way it fits on his ankle. It looks really good on his ankles. He told me they were sexy. You know, they're flattering on his foot. So the cuff is about 2.5 to 3 inches. I have a short leg section. So I cast on 70 stitches for the cuff, and the leg area, which is this color right here, I switched to 74 stitches. I increased. Right before the heel, I decreased by 1 stitch on the heel. So instead of working the heel over 37 stitches, it's worked over 36. The heel flap has 36 rows in it. And it's just your slip 1, knit 1 heel flap. The pattern for the double gusset is written by Christy Payne. You can find it on Ravelry as a free pattern. For this class, she made a supplement PDF that she just added to the pattern page as well. So if you already have the double gusset heel in your library, if you delete it and go back to the project page, you can now download both PDFs. The supplement one from the class is a more in-depth PDF on just how the heel is made. So here's my heel. So here's the turn. You got the first gusset decrease, and then here's my second gusset decrease. I like that the stitches are on the bottom. This heel is supposed to be good for people who have a high arch, and I think that's why it works really well for my boyfriend, because he does have a much larger arch in his foot than I do. I don't know in comparison to other people how it is, but compared to me, his is much bigger. So this actually really hugs his foot really well, and he is completely thrilled about these so far, and I can't wait to finish them for him. I'm really excited to work on them. So I'm about halfway through the foot for him. The good thing about knitting socks for him, because one of my goals this year is to knit more for him, especially socks, because I have a bit of socks for myself, and after I knit him one pair last year, he has been wearing them nonstop, so I want to make him some more. So the good thing about that is that his foot's not much bigger than mine, so his socks don't take much more time than making socks for myself, which I know is not always the case for people who knit socks for their significant others. But it's nice because his isn't much bigger than mine. So that's his sock, and like I said, Knits Pick Felicia, Rustic Cabin. If you have this yarn in your stash, I highly suggest you use it because it's lovely. Or you could just sell it to me. I'll take it off your hands if you don't use it. Warning though, if you have never used it and it's in your stash and you do use it, you'll probably be cussing me out afterwards because of the fact that it is discontinued, and you're probably going to want to buy more. So that's my double gusset sock for the class, for the mustache, this university. I'm really enjoying that thread that's going on too. I think it's been a good thread that's going on. So then, like I said, I enrolled also in the Afterthought Heel, and that's the one I was gonna use my mustache yarn for and put in for prizes. However, I had started the sock. I had purchased her Kama Sutra colorway, which is, exclusively for the School of Stash. And I made sure I got up early so that I would get a good spot so I could get some of this yarn. And it's gorgeous. It's self-striping, and there's 22 stripes of different colors. The colors are bright, the colors are deep, and I really enjoyed the yarn. I had cast on the Vanilla Bean Stripe Socks by Emily O'Grady. I was going to use the Afterthought La Carte Heel, which is a requirement for the class, and it's by Jennifer Lawson, who is teaching the class. So I cast on the rounded toe that is suggested in the Vanilla Bean pattern, which actually I thought at the time was great because I wanted to try a rounded toe and I wanted to expand my comfort zone knitting these. So I wanted to go toe up instead of cuff down, which is my usual. I like the look of the toe. I do not like the way the toe feels. So I had knit my whole foot. I was getting ready to put in the scrap yarn for my heel, and I had tried it on my foot, and I just didn't like the way it fit. I didn't like the feel of the toe at all. It felt bulky on my foot. It felt really loose around certain areas of my foot. I think a wedge toe is better for me. My foot, I have my first and second, my second and third toe are bigger than my big toe. So then my two small toes are a lot smaller. So my foot's very slanted. So the wedge toe actually, I think, is going to be my go-to from now on. And it has been my go-to, but I think now I know it's a good fit for me for sure. So I completely frogged my sock. It was looking good. Like I said, I didn't like the way it felt on my foot. And I like the Vanilla Bean pattern. I think it's great. I like knitting it. It goes for a fast knit with this yarn because the stripes are thin. You want to keep knitting. Sorry, my phone is going off. But I did not, I know the stripes are small, so that it felt a little, I didn't like how close the slip stitches felt together on the top of my foot, if that makes sense. So I did rip it back. I'm going to cast on. I think I'm going to still cast on toe up. That might change though. But I am going to cast it on again, and I'm not going to do the Vanilla Bean pattern or the round toe. I'm going to go with a wedge toe, and I'm going to go with, I think, plain stockinette with a side panel of something. probably use my mock cable sock pattern, which is a free download on Ravelry, guys, if you want to check it out. So I'll probably go with that, but I also might just go with the stockinette with the side panel of purl stitches with a twisted slip stitch ribbon in it for a little design element. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. I have very mixed feelings about the Afterthought Heel class. I'm enjoying the discussion thread. I think the tips that's are being handed out are good tips, and the information is good. And I like. I think the instructor is being very. What's the word? Is really attentive to everybody there and their questions. However, I'm a little disappointed in the pattern that we had to buy. First off, it's a decent pattern for an Afterthought heel, but for the price of it, this is what I'm disappointed in, because it's about $5 or $6, and I think I paid closer to $5 with a 25% discount from this class. I think it's closer to originally $6. And I was expecting more content, I think, from the pattern. I was expecting just more details and information on how to get a better fit in the pattern for that amount of money. The pattern itself is just your very generic Afterthought heel. It doesn't go into too much detail, and it does give you some different type of stitch patterns to put on the top of your foot, which is nice, but they're not anything intricate that and I don't, I can improvise the top of my foot too if I want. So, I mean, it has some nice, additions to help customize it with the different stitch counts, the stitch patterns on top of the foot. But as far as the information in it, I don't think it's worth the $6, and I don't think I would have bought in it if it wasn't for this class. So, like I said, I have mixed feelings about it. I don't think the pattern should be that much, in my opinion, for what it contains. With that being said, and having to rip out my sock, I am not really feeling doing the Afterthought heel anymore, which is a shame, because that was the plan, to use my mustache yarn for that class, and then I feel guilty if I don't follow through, because I did get her limited edition yarn for it, and if I don't participate and do the Afterthought heel, then it's like I'm not participating in the class, and there really was no point in enrolling and taking yarn away from somebody else. So I do feel guilty about that. When I do cast this on again, I will use my Cascade Heritage yarn that I bought for my Callus Lily cardigan. I'm definitely going to have leftover yarn for it, so I don't think it'll be a big deal if I use this for the contrast in toe and the contrast in heel with this. It has a really nice green in it already. That's a similar match. So I think it would be really nice to have this as a contrast toe and a contrast heel. I do like the Afterthought heel. I've done it before on other self-striping yarns. It fits me okay. It's not my best heel done, because I have trouble judging how deep my heel should be. So, and that all comes with practice on heels. So I don't use it that much, but I don't dislike it. I'm not really feeling it right now after everything going on with that class. Mainly because I did have to rip it all out, and then, I am still a little discouraged about how much I spent on that pattern. But I do feel like what I was looking for out of the pattern, I do feel like I'm getting that information from this class in that discussion thread. However, the thread is open to everyone, so, you could, if you're not enrolled, you could just go in and read up what other people have said about it and concerns about it. So I don't know. Like I said, I have mixed feelings. And then, so that one has been frogged and will be cast on again. This is Stacy's OCD skein, which I'm excited to try out from what people have been posting who are doing 2 socks at the same time, they match up pretty well, almost identical. So I'm excited to see that. Also, the third sock I had started was this one. It's the Patons Koi and their blue striped drag, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen on Ravelry. I started this originally for the double gusset class for my boyfriend before I read the pattern and realized that it was a cuff down only heel. So instead of ripping this out, I did just start a whole new sock for him, and it worked out really nice. One thing I want to say actually about this double gusset was I did the heel flap according to what the pattern says. It says that you should have as many rows as you have stitches across for your heel, and it worked out fabulously for my boyfriend's foot. And usually my heel flaps are really baggy. So I'm really excited about that I took this class and that I actually knit it. So here's this sock. This sock I actually haven't checked, but I think this one has a tighter gauge, or it just doesn't have as much stretch as my Felici. So this one actually has 80 stitches, which I think is actually a little too wide for my boyfriend's foot. But at the time he kept saying it was good. However, I think when I add more to it, the 80 stitches is going to be a little too much. This yarn is a little thinner or flatter than the Felici. It's a little rougher. So I might just frog these actually and start them cuffed down and get a good to go along with what I did for this. I will adjust the stitch count if I have to, because my boyfriend he does like his stitches smaller and tighter on socks than what I prefer. I don't have a preference really. I've done socks on size 2 needles and I've done socks on 1.5 needles. But he doesn't want to have to feel anything like the draft on his foot. So I like how these came out. I think the stripes look nice. But I might frog it back a little bit so it's not so many increases. So those I'll finish up after my Felici socks for him. And now I want to talk about my spinning. I'm super excited about my spinning because I have so much fiber and I never use any of it, and I'm never home to use my spinning wheel. And my spinning wheel has been at my boyfriend's house since February vacation. School vacation, I should say. So when I last showed you, I was working on my No Makers bats, and I had just finished the singles and was getting ready to ply it. So I did ply it. Oh, that's a pretty decent color representation. Right there is good. Yeah. So it's orange, green, and white. I'm glad I kept it as a 2-ply because it really kept the colors well. When I Navajo plied some of the singles at the end, I just did not like how muddied it got. So I'm glad it's a 2-ply. It's about a finger in weight. There are some plies that are underplied, some that are overplied, but in general, I really like how it came out. And I'm hoping to knit like a shawlette with that. So after I plied this, I finished spinning up some superwash BFL I had started around the same time I started this bat when I first got my ladybug wheel. And I'm pointing at my wheel like you guys can see it. So I finished spinning the rest of that woven I had. It's from Sunset Fibers on Etsy, and it's a individually run business by this woman named Linda, who is fabulous. And her woven is amazing to work with. She pin drafts it. It's all pin draft so that when you're working with it, it's very smooth to work with. And this is her Superwash BFL. This one I got in a fiber club I had joined, and it is a it's like jewel toned, and I call it, I've named it Wicked because it reminds me of the musical, like the colors of it. I can't seem to get a good color representation right now. I guess that's the best. I love this little green section. This will be a self-striping yarn. I did keep the colors together. I chain plied it, and it's about, I got 23 wraps per inch on this, so it's a fingering weight. Yeah, so I also am going to knit a shawlette from this. I just need a good one. I was going to do the Quaker shawl, but I don't know if I have enough. We'll see. I need to find something for both of these that I can just keep knitting and end when I run out of yarn. So if you guys know any good patterns for the hand spun like that, let me know, because I want to do it for both of these. And then after that, last weekend, I spun up some woven from Copper Pot Woolies. This was her Victorian holiday colorway. She's on she was on Etsy. She's no longer on Etsy. I bought this back in 2009. And I've tried looking elsewhere for her, but as far as I can tell, she's no longer in business. This was 4.1 ounces. It was merino and bamboo. Her Victorian holiday colorway. It's blacks, pinks, and white from the bamboo. I went with a woolen spun fiber. I did a short backwards draw, woolen style, and I was going for it's a single ply, and I was going for something kind of bulky. And I love how it came out. There are definitely some areas like this that are super thin and overspun, while there are also some areas like these which are super bulky. To finish this, I soaked it in hot water, shocked it into cold water, I filled it up, and I hung it with a slight weight for a couple hours before taking the weight off and letting it dry without the weight. And I'm really pleased with how it came out. I want to use it in a cowl. I want to do a long cowl. There's not enough here, so I'm going to pair it with my other Copper Pot Woolies fiber that I had bought at the same time. So this is my deep stash, guys, for fiber. So the other two sets of woven that I bought from her, I'm going to spin up, and I'm going to pair the three. So I've got three. As you can see, I've spun two of them already. I want to spin them and then stripe them in a monster cowl. But we'll see. We'll see if that works out. I was originally going to do my Winter Breeze cowl, just like I did my merino one, but I kind of changed my mind. I think it'd look really nice as the monster cowl. So there's this one, the Victorian Holiday. The second one I spun up last night. Both of them only took me about a couple hours to spin. This one is Mango Berry, and it is pink, a dark purple that's almost black, and a melon orange. It's kind of, it matches my nails. It's kind of like a corally melon orange. I had the tag for that. Trying to find it. I don't know what happened to it. To be honest, I'm probably sitting on it. But it's 4.3 ounces of merino. There's no bamboo in this one. And it's called Mango Berry. And this one is more on like the worsted side. It didn't spin up as bulky. This one actually the fiber was very compressed when I was using it, because I've had it stored for so long in Ziploc bags, and when I first started storing my fiber, I was compressing the bags, getting the air out of them, because I just didn't know better. So the fiber did get compact in that one, so it was tougher to spin. It wasn't as easy to draft, and I was kind of fighting a little bit with it. which to be honest worked out kind of well because I was going for a bulky yarn that it helped keep it bulky, but it was tough to work with. This one wasn't compressed as much, so it did draft a lot easier. So there are some areas that's more of a worsted weight and more even than the rest because it did draft out easier. And I tried doing this one with a short forward draw woolen style because I want to work on the different draws that I learned while I was spinning this one. I had been watching JC Boggs' crafty class, and it's called Drafting from Worsted to Woolen. And she starts out by telling you the difference between the two, what kind of preps to look for the two, and then she starts you off with a worsted draft and slowly brings you into like a woolen. So it goes from worsted to a semi-worsted woolen and then to a woolen. She doesn't necessarily give it those terms. She shows you the four individual draft styles. There's the short forward, the short backwards draw, the long draw, and from a fold. And from the fold, she shows you two ways of doing it. So there's it shows you a lot of different draws that you can use, and it's very down to earth. And her way of explaining just clicked in me a way that others have not. It was just like I was, all of a sudden there was this connection between what I was taking in and what the knowledge that I had acquired about a spinning since I've started, and my hand movements. It was one fluid motion from intake to outtake, and I could really see what my hands were doing, and I could really see what the fiber wanted to do instead. And I really wished on this one I had started it as a long draw woolen style. I think the fiber would have been perfect for it, and I think it would have came out so gorgeous. It's gorgeous as is, to be honest. I love it either way, but I felt like that's what it wanted to be at the end. Once I had watched her class, and as I was watching her class, my hands just, something clicked all of a sudden, and it really was speaking to me to be something else. So for these last two, I've let my hands and do what they want to do, and I let the fiber do what it wants to do, and I've taken everything JC has had to say into consideration. She talks about certain problems you might come across and how to fix them, which made complete sense to me. And after viewing her class, I was visualizing what I had been doing for this yarn as well as what I had been doing for this yarn, and I could see where those problems came up, and I could see now ways to make them better. So her class was really good, and I actually got her class free on Craftsy because I was like a new member, and I had bought so many knitting classes, and then they give you a free one or something in a different category, and I had picked her class when it had just come out, and I'm so glad I did because it was one of the best, it was probably the best Craftsy class I've taken by far. I got so much out of it. I highly recommend it. I've also been watching a video I got from Interweave one time when they had a sale, and I think it's by Sarah Anderson. I can't remember if that's her last name or not. Her first name is Sarah, and her teaching is really, I like her teaching skill as well, so I've been watching that as well. I forget what it's called. I'll try to put all that information in the show notes, though, for those of you who are interested in learning more about spinning. These two videos that I've been using, I think, have been the most helpful by far. So that's my spinning, and that's the next. Actually, I'll show you the next one. So this is the other Copper Pots woven that I want to use. It's once again all merino. This one's only two colors. It's that pink. It's a very similar. It's, I think, the same pink that was actually in this one. This one's a slightly more pink than this one. So that's, that's kind of why I want to use all these together, because you got that pink that ties them together. And I think it would look nice self-striping. Anyways, I want to spin this the same way. A single. I'm going to fold it. I'm going to spin it on the bulky side and see what comes up. So yeah, that's my fiber. And then let me just show you one more thing because I didn't have a nitty naughty when I spun this up. And when I was scanning it, I was scanning it around a large footstool from a chair, and it was killer on my thighs and my back. And I have a bad back, so I didn't want to have to do that with my other fiber. So I did go ahead and buy a PVC nitty naughty off of Etsy. I know you can make them for really cheap. I'm just not, when I go to hardware stores, I get really overwhelmed. So I could have gone with my boyfriend and we could have done it together, but I just didn't want to wait for that. So I did go on Etsy and I found this one. It is collapsible, and you can change it to 3 different sizes. You can do the 1 yard, 1.5 yard, or 2 yards, and it came in a nice storage bag. All of this was $15 altogether, and it's from Skein It. That's the shop's name. I do recommend this if you're looking for a PVC nitty naughty that you don't want to make yourself. You can find them cheap. Like, you can find them for like $8 or $7 on Etsy, but this one actually came with the bag. And it's just a very standard, nice drawstring bag. And it has like this just your typical cylinder bead that you probably find as a kid's craft item as your pull. And it actually works really well. So I'm really glad I got this, and I think the bag is adorable. It's the different colored sheep. So yeah, I was happy with that purchase as well. The only thing about that one is that it does come with instructions, but they don't seem to be up to date on how to put it together. There were a lot more pieces to my set than what was in the instructions. So then I had to make the pieces that looked like one piece already, which was fine. I had no problem doing that, and that's why it's so adjustable, is that all the pieces come apart. But it would have been nice if the pieces were labeled so that I knew where to put them. So I did stand all the pieces up next to each other to make sure the sizes, I kind of got a better idea of the sizes and what pieces need to go in for the 2 yard one, and where the smaller pieces needed to go. However, it was a little confusing. I had to figure a lot of it out on my own. That's the only drawback. However, if you know anything about knitting naughties and can figure stuff out on your own, you can figure this out. I did anyways. So yeah, that's my knitting over the past 2 weeks and my spinning. I'm super excited about my spinning. I'm really loving it right now, and I'm super excited about my double gusset socks. Those are my big things right now. So guys, I hope you have a nice weekend. Or I should say week, because right now it's Sunday that I'm recording, and I'm probably not going to get this up until late Sunday night or Monday-ish. So yeah, enjoy your week. Enjoy the beginning of March and the rest of March. And I hope those of you who are in the sun are enjoying it for me. Those of you who are as tired of the snow as I am, I hope you're getting some sun sent your way. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.